Good morning, good afternoon, and evening, baseball fans. Welcome back to the Barstool Baseball Show. This is Carl. It is Wednesday. I am joined by Klemmer. As you're listening to this right now, we're also probably joined in person. We're in Boston for the award show. Right now, as people are listening to this, let's say we're having lunch. What are you going to get for lunch?
Ooh, I say this right now. Massachusetts, the best roast beef sandwiches. I will be having a roast beef sandwich sometime when people are hearing this that day. I promise. I love a good Boston roast beef sandwich. Barbecue sauce is so good. Let's go.
The right amount of spices, too. That roast beef can be an Italian beef if cooked properly. We don't need that argument. Let's just have a good time. It's Wednesday. This is the award prediction show. You reached out to me ahead of time, said, I want to talk about 4 major award categories: Rookie of the Year, MVP, Cy Young, Manager of the Year. Let's run them through the predictions. I ran my simulations, so I had my computer up and running late last night. We have a meaty discussion to get into here. And the reason I like awards so much, because it goes into the storytelling and the narrative of the baseball game. There's nothing better than looking back and saying, you know, this guy was a 3-time MVP. He finished top 10 for the MVP a number of times. It just allows a great storytelling.
Exactly. It provides historical context. Like, I was born in 79, so I don't know 1970. I never saw it, but I'm able to look back, see who won MVP. It's interesting to see who people thought were great. Like Steve Garvey, like how much people liked him then, and like look at him now, like the perception of him is wildly different because like his skill set isn't as valuable as it was back then. But like I love looking at who finished top 10 in Rookie of the Year, who panned out, who should have won, who had the best career. I love all that stuff.
Yeah. How many Cy Youngs have been won by relief pitchers?
Ooh. You got Willie Hernandez in 84 won the MVP. Dennis Eckersley won the MVP as well. Did Gagne win one year? Not many.
You're so good. It's only 3, and you rattled them off so quickly. Gagne in 4, Eckersley in 92. And who was it with the Expos?
Oh, that was Gagne, was it not? Expos? Reliever?
Who's the first reliever to win a Cy Young? Marshall?
Oh, Mike Marshall may have. Oh, I got that. Yeah, he pitched 100. It was at the Dodgers. So he pitched 100 games in a season, which is wild. And I think the next year he pitched like 92. I think he pitched 106 games. Think about it. It's like hard to fathom. Yeah, he was a bizarre career. Seattle Pilot, by the way.
Part of the expansion, and there's some news about maybe expansion, or should I say relegation for the White Sox to Nashville. That's for the Friday American League show. Monday was the power ranking. We did the 1 through 9. Today is the award prediction show. We want to start off with Manager of the Year. I think this is the best place to go, and I want to start off with the American League. Do you want to do picks and analysis, or what do you want to talk generally about the American League Manager of the Year?
We can make our picks and maybe go from there, kind of explain ourselves, have a debate potentially if it's a debate.
Sure. I'll take the American League, and this isn't from a gambling standpoint. If it was from a gambling standpoint, I'd take Scott Service, but I'm gonna go with Brandon Hyde here. It's just like if they end up winning that division and they lead the American League in wins, and it looks like the Orioles, based on today, I would give it to Brandon Hyde. The theme I have with the American League when picking out these awards is like, I think division winners are going to skew voting. I think if you've won your division, that's going to skew. So if Seattle comes back and wins the division, I think Service is a slam fucking dunk. If Bruce Bochy holds on in the West, I think Bruce Bochy's a great nomination. But at the same time, Brandon Hyde's a very sexy pick.
Yeah, my vote would go to Brandon Hyde. My prediction is I think Bochy wins. This is one of those really, there aren't too many of these. This is kind of a coin toss. And I think you're absolutely right, Carl. Like, it all depends on who wins the division. But Brandon Hyde finished second last year, to Terry Francona. So he hasn't won it before. Orioles are playing so well. They've dealt with some, dealing with the, Kevin Brown announcer shit, dealing with, John Angelos being a moron. So there's a lot of like headaches, and he managed to keep the team focused every day. He's doing a fantastic job. In Bochy, the improvement the Rangers have had is incredible. That's why I think he would get. That's why I don't know. I'm not as high on Servius winning Manager of the Year.
I know you're not a name guy, but it's Service. He played for the Cubs. He was a backup catcher.
He did. Yeah, I always mispronounce names. Scott Service. I think because they made the playoffs last year, I think it's going to be tough for him to win it this year.
Dude, if they come back and win the division, at the time of recording, what are they, 2 back, 2.5 back? I'm saying if they end up winning the AL West, at this point, we're in late August, and we've hardly talked about the Seattle Mariners as a playoff contender, much as a division winner, and the whole focus has been on the Astros and the Rangers.
You don't think the story is better with the Rangers being so bad last year, being bad for a few years? Bruce Bochy comes in now.
If they blow the division lead to the Mariners down the stretch,
I agree. I also don't think it's going to happen. I guess it's part of it.
now that's a completely different conversation because Julio Rodriguez can't hit 900 like we said,
Right.
powering forever. Maybe that was your point. Maybe I'm stealing your point from you.
Yes.
Feels good.
So that's why I think the Rangers will win that division. I think, although I mean it's so close. 2 games separate 3 teams, so I'm not confident anyone. I am a lot more confident that Brandon Hyde will win the East. I think the Orioles will win the East, even though their lead isn't huge either. What is it? It's 2.5, 3. I'm sorry. Yeah. So my vote would go to Brandon Hyde. I think Brandon Hyde is, but I think Bochy's going to win. But you're right. If they don't win the division, then Brandon Hyde wins. If that makes sense.
So my pick is Brandon Hyde. I think yes, my vote is going right now. If I have to vote, my vote goes to Brandon Hyde too.
Me too. But I'm not confident he wins at all. I think Bochy, if the season ended right now, I think Bochy would win.
Do you think that's because Bochy's first year back and
Yeah. It's just a narrative. People remember, they're writers, and writers like a good story. And like the narrative for Bochy, I think, is like a more interesting narrative than the one for almost anybody else in the American League.
you know, talk about narratives? The National League has. I wrote down 7 names. Almost half the managers I wrote down and was like, I can see an argument for this guy. I can absolutely see an argument for this guy. And today, though, I'm taking fuck, I hate to do this. I'm taking I have 2 names. I have 2 names. I can't pick. I literally cannot pick between Dave Roberts and Craig Counsell.
Oh, I have different names. So I can't pick between David Bell and Skip Schumacher. I guess I will pick. I'll say Skip Schumacher. Now, this is with a caveat. If the Marlins do not finish above 500, I don't think he wins. This is kind of like the playoff thing we're doing in the division. I think the bar in the National League is a little bit lower. And I think if he, first-year manager, if he can get the team to, if they win, if they need to make the playoffs, then he's getting. I think the Skip Schumacher narrative is interesting.
I did not even have Skip Schumacher. He's 8th on my list.
Yeah.
Does that make me a crazy person? I don't. I feel like
I mean, honestly, like, why not like Brian Snicker? Like, but like he's not going to win. Like we know that. Like that's just not. It's not what the writers want to do. I mean, you can make a case that but they just say, oh, he has a lot of talent. It's like Bobby Cox didn't win Manager of the Year every year either. They like to give us to new managers. They like seeing teams that improve a great deal. David Bell, I think, is a real option here. Where did you have him?
I have David Bell. I like him 4th. I just like 4. I've got David Bell. 5. I've got Lovello. I've got David Ross ahead of David Bell.
Yeah, I don't.
I have Snicker 7th. I've got Gabe Kapler up there pretty high. Giants make the playoffs.
I don't hate the Craig Counsell pick. I'm looking right now. He's finished second manager year 3 different times. So like,
if they win the division with run differential that is 70 to 80 runs worse than the Cubs, which is what they're on trend for, that's an argument for him being a great manager.
And who else did you say? Dave Roberts? Were you saying him?
I said Dave Roberts because we've talked about how much the Dodgers have struggled to fill gaps in the pitching staff. I know they've got the Hall of Famers at first base and right field. They lose their shortstop out of the gate. They've gotten great seasons from some lesser-known players. Jason Hayward goes in there and plays well. A lot of players go in there and play super well.
He's won before, though. He won in 2016. It's a long time ago, though.
The reason I like Dave Roberts, too, is because I'm also voting right now with how well the Dodgers have played in the second half and how much control they've taken in the NL West. That's a
they won the division.
That's a really good division on paper to start the year.
I almost think that kind of hurts Roberts, too. The story already is kind of closed on him. Like, we know what the story is. The story is the Dodgers win the division. Okay, great. And they'll get we we know what happens with them. We know they're not going to play in the wild card round. They'll have that first, whatever, round bye, if you want to call it that. And that's the Dodgers story. Where I think the Reds, Marlins, Cubs, like David Ross, Brewers, like their story is yet to be told. And I think that's going to be in the voters' minds when they get the ballot.
My theme for the American League, as I said, was who wins the division. For the National League, it's a step down. It's in the wild card. Who wins the wild card? And I think that
who finishes 500 even. You could even do a step down from there.
If Skip Schumacher misses the playoffs, if he goes 500,
yeah,
David Bell goes 500, you cannot give a manager of the year award to David Bell. Can you? They were 73 and 89 last year.
But they like play all these rookies. The team isn't that good. Like they're making it work. I don't know.
Yeah, it's David Bell. It's David Bell. Now, as you're saying it, I think David Bell wins it. If the Reds stay on this, David Bell would win it above Counsell. Although my vote is for Dave Roberts. I think Dave Roberts get made.
My vote is for Skip Schumacher. Right now, at this very moment. If you ask me a week from now, if the Marlins lose 5-7, I'll have a different answer for you. This is one of the and it's funny because a lot of these, as we keep doing this, you'll notice, I'm guessing, there's really almost no debate with some of these awards. This is maybe the award with the most debate. You have 8 different, very qualified people, and we don't know. Which is kind of cool because as the Mets potentially look for a new manager next year. By the way, Buck Showalter won manager year last year. If you're looking for a new manager who's out there, and the coverage pretty bare. The free agent manager cover right now is pretty slim pickings. So I like the idea that we have a lot of good managers in the National League right now, especially that hopefully boost those ranks a little bit.
If you look at our 1 through 9 each week too, it's always 2 National League teams and then generally a mix of American League teams. I mean, we have obviously like the Cubs and the Phillies have started to make some noise, but for the most part, a lot of the talent. I feel like there's so much more talent at the top of the American League spread out across, but they're also.
Well, the National League has maybe the 2 best teams, and then the American League has like the next 5.
They're like Big Ten football.
I don't follow college, but I completely agree or disagree. I don't know.
Hey, speaking of college, let's talk about rookies, rookie of the year. Young kids. Was that a decent transition? I liked it.
No.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I didn't like the rookie of the years are too easy to me. I would like to see if the Red Sox, again, let's go back. If the Red Sox make the playoffs, is there any argument against Gunnar Henderson winning the regular?
Yeah, there's not. I mean, the other problem, too, is Yoshida and Cassis are going to split the vote. So, like, right, let's say the Red Sox do sneak in for a wild card spot, which is not crazy. It's funny that looking at the American League, it's wild. I mean, the Guardians have their 2 rookie pitchers in there. You got the Red Sox are there. Obviously, we got kind of cheated. Like when Josh Young got hurt, we got cheated out of that because that would have been really fun. Play the same position, both playoff teams. Let's go right down to the wire. But there's the last man standing here. It's Gunnar Henderson. I mean, it's not like I said, it's not even really much of a debate.
Is he a third base or a shortstop?
When I went to those games in Camden Yards, I was watching him play, that series, the Mets-Orioles series. He's playing shortstop. He's pretty fucking good. I don't know. I'm sure he has more value as a shortstop, maybe, right? I don't know. I don't know how great his range is going to be long term. I'm going to sneeze, I think.
Go ahead and sneeze. I'm going to make a comment about Gunnar Henderson.
No,
he's so good offensively.
So good. So good.
Now, then the question is, as a manager, front office, someone, charge of that roster, he's so good offensively, I want him in the lineup every day for 8 to 10 years. And I just want an offense-driven Gunnar Henderson. If playing shortstop every single day takes away from that, and okay, fine, go play average third base or second base. That's how good offensively he is, I'm saying. I want to guarantee that guy's healthy and feeling good. And historically speaking, playing shortstop can drag the body. So is that too progressive or forward-thinking or too weirdo of me to say, maybe in the long run, Gunnar Henderson should just go play another position?
No, I mean, to some historical context, like, I remember as a kid growing up, like Cal Ripken Jr., people were like, you need to move him off short. Like, he's not going to break the streak if you leave him at shortstop because it's just too demanding physically. And everyone was saying, you got to move him to third, move him to third, move him to third. People were saying it like in the late 80s, like a lot, early 90s, a lot. I think, to me, the Gunnar Henderson situation is more like, who can we get around him that makes sense? So, like, Jordan Westburg, like, where's the best spot for him where he can succeed? And, where's the best spot for the other guy we're going to have in the infield at second or third base or short? And then you could put Gunnar in somewhere. The only thing I don't want to have them do with him is fuck with him. So, like, they got to decide next year what his position is and then let him become good at that position. He's very good anyway, but that way, to your point, he can focus more on hitting and become more comfortable position as opposed to bouncing them all around. Like he's a utility man, which he's not. Obviously, incredible player.
Yeah, he's capable of being a top 10 offensive player year after year in baseball. His knowledge of the strike zone, and you also just see the gap from where he took off, his launching point this summer when everything kind of clicked, and he hasn't really slowed down. So it's clearly Gunnar Henderson in the American League.
He's slugging .541 since the All-Star break, just as a point of reference. So, like, what's he going to do next year? Now that he's comfortable, he's going to get some postseason at bat, stuff like that, just becoming more comfortable with the league, seeing different pitches. And I think he's kind of over that hump where, like, people learned how to pitch to him. Like, we saw that in April and May. Like, terrible. And he's figured it out because he's very talented and very bright, and he's making it work. And, he's obviously a rookie year. Like I said, it's this, got Hunter Brown. He's been getting knocked around. Anthony Volpe plays every day, but he obviously is having a tough time offensively. I still like the player a lot, though. That's kind of where we are.
Yeah, Anthony Volpe has I just looked it up, 3.1 wins above replacement. Cassis and Yoshida both check in at 1.5. I think that's position-based, though, right?
Well, you're going to get more, A, Volpe's a really fucking good shortstop.
Yeah.
And then B, you're going to have more opportunity to have a higher WAR if you play short. But, I mean, Volpe does so many other things right besides hitting. I know it sounds stupid. He's a very good base runner. He's very good defensively. He's got some pop. He needs to work on that contact. Yeah, his plate discipline isn't horrible. He just needs to learn how to swing at the pitch and hit the pitch.
And to be fair, it's overwhelming. The talent gap and his exposure to big league pitching. He's so fucking young. He's
22. He's going to have a 2020 season unless he gets hurt. He already has 20 steals. He has 17 homers. I like him a lot. He obviously, the other problem too is the Yankees offense is so weak. So I think it exposes someone like him even more. Like, I wish he was on a better team offensively. You could just throw him in the 9 hole and be like, listen, kid, figure it out. Don't worry about it. Work hard with your hitting coach. And then, there's no pressure on you. Where now, I think all those Yankee guys feel like they have to hit a 3-run homer every time up, even though there's no one on base.
And if it's a slam dunk in the American League, do you think it's a bigger slam dunk in the National League?
No, I don't. Here's why. Gunnar Henderson gets hurt tomorrow. I think Gunnar Henderson still wins Rookie of the Year. Like, I'm pretty comfortable with that. Now, the odds, Gunnar Henderson's a -300 to win Rookie of the Year. The guy we're talking about is Corbin Carroll, -2,500. So the sports books agree with you, Carl. I think Matt McClain still has a tiny chance of taking that from Corbin Carroll. Here's what has to happen, I think. Let me know if you agree with me or not. Carroll gets hurt or just plays very weak down the stretch since his shoulder injury last month. He only has 3 homers, I think, since July 9th, something like that. His power certainly is diminished. He's still running very fast, still a ton of bases. But let's say the shoulder pops out again. He needs to be out for the rest of the year. The Reds make the playoffs. I think Matt McClain might be Rookie of the Year. And right now, he's plus 1,000. Like, that's not that crazy of a hypothesis I just put out there.
The only problem is McClain's got to split it with Ellie.
I don't think so. Ellie just didn't play. He hasn't been in the majors long enough. Now, if he started this season, I would have a different point of view.
The sports books have Ellie like 3rd or 4th in odds, I thought.
He's 3rd. He's plus 3,300, tied with Senga at plus 3,300. And I'd vote for Senga over De La Cruz. De La Cruz, while he's incredible to watch, he's perfect for social media, get all the highlights. The day-to-day, the at-bat by at-bat, it's a little different story. His on-base is 309. He's slugging 455. His OPS plus is only 102. He has a 1.1 WAR. I mean, this is not, by comparison, Matt McClain has a 3.4 WAR. Like, Matt McClain has been so much more valuable to the Reds than Ellie De La Cruz has this year. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
It's inarguable.
He's fallen off a cliff, though.
He has, because guys learned how to pitch to him.
But the name is still there if the Reds do what they have to do for McLean to earn it. Ellie's still
fucking 504 right now.
McLean's a great fucking ball player. How about it? In McLean, I love this. He and Garrett Cole did the same thing. Got drafted in the first round out of high school. Said, nope. Not enough money or not the right circumstance or whatever. McLean went and played college ball at UCLA. Now that's exactly where Cole went. They share that too. But the fact that after they go to college, they come back, get drafted in the first round again, and then they fucking dominate. Obviously, Cole's on a Hall of Fame trajectory. McLean's in his rookie year, but we're talking about him winning an award. I do like those guys that turn down first round. I mean, I think you're fucking crazy, Mark Appel, notably, but guys that turn down the first round because they're just like, not yet.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean, and also just to compare Carroll and McLean again. By the way, McLean's slugging is 504. Carroll's down to 501. Now, when I'm saying these things about De La Cruz, I'm saying these things about Corbin Carroll. This is not what I'm saying about their long-term projections. I think both those guys are going to have a better career than Matt McLean. And it's not a slam on McLean. I just think De La Cruz and Carroll are that special. But for this season, for Rookie of the Year, it's closer than it might look. My vote would go to Corbin Carroll right now. He's got a 4.1 WAR. McLean is 3.4. I think Carroll's has meant so much more to the team too. But it's closer than it might look.
But at the same time, it's Corbin Carroll's award to lose just so much. So much.
Yes, completely agree. I'm just saying it's not. I think Gunnar Henderson has it locked up, basically. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say Carroll's locked up, but maybe in like 10 days it might be. If he can play health, if he has like a good 10-day stretch, it's over.
You know, the only pitchers I ran into on this list were Senga and Andrew Abbott.
For National League or for
National League. Did you have anybody in the American League?
I like Tanner Beebe for the Guardians. He's been pretty good. I'm not saying he's Rookie of the Year, but I'm saying he's in a discussion, I guess. And Senga's been a very nice pitcher for the Mets. So he's like a perfect number 3 guy. But I don't know. Like I always feel kind of like giving it to Senga's 30 years old. Like he's played in Japanese league, which is a very high level of baseball. Like giving a 30-year-old who has professional experience like that, like Rookie of the Year, I feel like it's kind of a cheat. Like he has to have like an amazing season for me to go that direction. And like being a quality starting pitcher isn't enough for me.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Corbin Carroll.
Yeah. Okay, we're lockstep there then.
I do Cy Young.
Cy Young?
This is American League. I get this again. This is heavy division. I mean, I know Garrett Cole is the likely favorite, but I have some extended commentary on the field here. Garrett Cole, Kevin Gossman, Framber, Luis Castillo, Eovaldi's out. Shane McClanahan's out for the rest of the season. There is a reliever deep on the list, Felix Bautista from the Orioles. Shohei's had a very bad July and is a slam dunk for an later award. And then George Kirby from the Mariners was another name on the list, but Garrett Cole's probably going to win it. It should go to Eovaldi if he was healthy and was back.
I don't have a problem with Cole winning it here at all, and he would get my vote. I know his last start he got knocked around, but he's been remarkably consistent. I mean, not that it should matter, but if you look at his splits, it's like wildly even, like day, night, all the way, like month by month. Like he's been that guy all year for them. He is leading the American League in ERA with a very high 3.03, which is interesting. I remember, like, what was it, 2002-ish? Freddie Garcia led the American League with an ERA of like over 3. It's weird when it happens. It doesn't typically happen a ton. Cole also leading the league in innings pitched, batters faced, games started. Like he's been the guy, takes the ball your 5th day, and he's going to give you, except for Sunday, he's going to give you a pretty good outing. I don't know. I think he's the guy. It's funny, in neither league is one guy having that like, oh shit year. And but honestly though, Carl, if Gausman goes out there and has like an insane September and gets that ERA at 2.8 or something with how low his whip typically is anyway, like I'd vote for him maybe. But right now, at this moment, on this day, Garrett Cole.
Gausman gets the least run support in the American League. Does that get considered?
Is that true?
Yes.
How is that possible with that lineup?
I think his run scored per nine and his starts is less than 3.5 runs.
The Blue Jays always confuse.
Shit like that. That's what the fucking Blue Jays do. That's why they always lose.
Every week in the power ranking, Hubs and I have the back and forth, and Hubs is like, you can't believe in the Blue Jays. And I'm like, well, I can't help but not. But then he's always proven right. I don't understand this team. They should be so much better. It's very frustrating they're not. I'm not a Blue Jays fan, but just as a baseball fan. Gausman, by the way, to your point about Gausman, leading the league in strikeouts, 187.
Writers love this stuff. He leads the league in a lot of that advance stuff. He looks better than Cole on Fangraphs.
He led the league in
writers is starting. Pardon me?
But Gausman led the league in FIP last year. Like, this isn't new that he's awesome.
His odds have gone down.
What are they?
Improved. Around 4 to 6 to 1.
I wonder if that's because Cole got lit up that last start.
Framber was way more competitive. His odds went through the roof. He's third. I believe he's third at the time. But Castillo just had a great game, so it's between him and Castillo. I should say not for the award, but where they're competing for like third in the, because it's Cole 1 by Vegas, 2 Gausman.
It could be the award. Like this is how, like, if one has an insane September, like CC Sabathia, Milwaukee Brewers September, like, who's to say that one of those guys won't? Because there's no like dominating force here. There's no great pitcher. I think in both leagues it's still up for grabs.
People want to give it to Framber he's had a couple bad starts. I know his ERA's gone up.
He had the no-hitter, but if you look at the other games surrounding the no-hitter, it's a junkyard. It's awful.
Yeah, he was like a first half Cy Young guy. People like Garrett Cole because I think there's a national sense of the Yankees being so bad despite him being so good.
Yeah, I think there's some of that. You're right. That's like a narrative, right? Like, we talk about the writers like the narratives. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. I also think, like, Cole really endeared himself to the Yankee fans last year in the postseason, finally. Like, it took him a while to like him. I don't know. He's like, also, I'm looking right now, he's finished runner-up twice before. Like, it just kind of feels like it's his time.
Oh, he's never won a Cy Young. I thought he would.
It's kind of like the Oscars. Like, how, like, you'll have that guy who, like Martin Scorsese, I know this is, like, great director, but he finally wins for, like, The Departed. And you're like, that movie's pretty good, but, like, it's not Goodfellas. It's not, it's not Taxi Driver. It's okay. It's good. I like it a lot. Departed is awesome, but, like, where Garrett Cole's having this year, it's not the best year of his career. It's 2019, but it's good. And it's like, all right, someone's got to win.
If Eovaldi was healthy, slam dunk. He's been out since July 19th.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even, yeah, maybe slam. I don't know about slam dunk because Cole's been really good all year, but it would definitely be a more interesting race.
Okay, I meant to say if Eovaldi didn't get hurt and stayed on his path, I would.
But even if he did, you're probably right, Carl. Like, I'm looking right now, 11-3, 2.69 ERA. You're probably right.
I game scored him. He's a 61 on the season game score. Shohei Ohtani's number 2 in the American League at 60. Then Garrett Cole at 59, Gausman 58, Framber 57, Castillo's 58. Now these are average when you take their average game scores, which is one of my favorite statistics.
I love it, and I think honestly what you just said proves that it's no one's ahead. Like, it's just it's a pick and straw. Like, which one? Right now, no one has grabbed it at all. It's a very open race, which is interesting. And as a baseball fan, it's kind of exciting. I always like having those guys having those, like, awesome Pedro Martinez, like, amazing seasons. Let's go. But if we're not going to get that, this always is interesting, I guess.
So your official vote is for Garrett Cole?
Yeah. I think he will win, and it's my vote.
I'm going to do the same. But I want to see Luis Castillo win it. Like, I'm going back to this Mariners narrative in the American League. If they win their division,
Yeah, I just don't. I don't know.
They win their division and he puts them on their back for his last 4 starts, and there's a great moment at T-Mobile. Like, I can see that happening. It's a very small window of reality.
I mean, he's 10-7, a 3.15 ERA.
League leader's 303. If he takes the league in ERA, that thing gets down to a 2.9.
That has to happen for him to win. He has to do something spectacular like that to win, because I feel like I know you keep running this Mariners narrative, but I think the problem is for so long they weren't even we didn't talk about them in our show. They just haven't come up, and like I don't know. I feel like they have a lot of catching up to do from a national perspective. Plus, it doesn't help they play in the West Coast, which isn't fair, but it's just a reality. A lot of writers aren't up late watching these games. I know, you are. A lot of people aren't.
Diehards.
Of course.
No George Kirby. That was the last name I had on the list. Felix Bautista too. There was a little sense in July, maybe.
I don't think it's that crazy. Like, this is the kind of thing that has to like happen for a reliever to sneak in there and steal it. I could see him getting some first place votes from some people, and maybe if everybody else kind of splits the vote, he comes in and steals it. I don't think it's that crazy.
They don't need to use him in September.
109 strikeouts, 58 innings.
58 innings. 58.
I know.
You could throw 58 innings.
I should. They should hire me. I would become a relief pitcher. That'd be awesome.
You think you'd be good in the bullpen? Do you think you'd be good in the bullpen?
Yeah, I think. No, I mean, I don't think I'd be good anywhere, Carl. I think anywhere I went would be a disaster.
I was gonna say more from a camaraderie standpoint, like your bullpen guy, more like a dugout chart guy. Where would you like to keep the chart? Is basically what I'm saying, because you're keeping the fucking chart, pal. As soon as you dugout, chart.
The dugout for that. But I think I could see, like, I was not hanging the bullpen with the guys. Be a lot of fun.
Some deep conversations out there. We're having a good one here. National League Cy Young. We got a potpourri of selections here, guys. Zach Gallen is the lead right now that I saw. These are Vegas odds. If someone wants to tell me I'm a fucking moron because I missed something, this comes out on Wednesday. I pulled these babies early Tuesday morning, made sure they're nice and right. Justin Steele is my pick. I'm going to say that. Justin Steele is the third best odds, then Spencer Strider, Logan Webb, Corbin Burns plus 960, and then Zach Wheeler, and then it kind of falls off. There's some outsiders. The last name I saw was interesting. Sandy Alcantara will maybe get 10 later, but there's 7, 8 guys here. Gallen, Snell, Steele, Strider, Webb, Burns, Wheeler. I like Steele.
Yeah, so the book I'm looking at, Steele is plus 900. It is wild to me. Because, he's having a year that is easily Cy Young candidate. 14-3, 2.80 ERA. He's leading the league in wins, winning percentage, ERA plus. He's having, in my opinion, a Cy Young type season. Doesn't seem like he's that seriously considered. And it's funny, Gallen is awesome at home. Pitching at home, people hear this. He pitched at home yesterday. Who knows? He's really good. His road splits are not that great. The ERA 4.7, I think. And then Blake Snell, has a great ERA, leading the league in walks. Honestly, if I had to vote, I'd vote for Justin Steele. And people are going to say, oh, it's because we had him on Pick Central and he's a nice guy. And that's not it at all. It's because he is the best pitcher in the National League up to this point. Now, it's very close. And if Steele has a bad September, he wouldn't be getting my vote. But at this moment in time, I think it's wild he's a plus 900.
Well, what about Gallen at plus 205? I think when I look at these odds, I'm assuming that all right, if the Diamondbacks don't make it, I'm not voting for Zach Gallen. If the Padres aren't making the playoffs, get Snell out of here. I'm not voting. I'm not.
Cy Young playoff though, not typically. Maybe in a year this even it does. I think of all of these awards, it's at least tied to team performance.
But when you consider the voters, I'm thinking from a narrative standpoint, if Justin Steele pitches the Cubs to a playoff, that's a way better story than Padres finished 4 games under 500, as Carl predicted.
You did predict that. It's true. I think Zach Gallen is the biggest name of that group, right? Gallen, Snell, and Steele. Let's kind of lock it to those three. Gallen's probably the most famous. I mean, I know Blake Snell had that amazing year with the Rays. He's not the same pitcher he was. I mean, Snell's obviously won in that year of 18. So it's funny that starting pitching just this year is not. There's no standouts. It's very weird.
Rule changes, pal. It's not their game anymore. It's not their game anymore. Every single fucking guy we've read off, and I'm sorry to, every single name we've read off from the American League and the National League has had to make substantial adjustments. Substantial adjustments. Kevin Gossman's the type of guy who would just take a step off the mound, walk around for a little bit, go look up in the lights, gather himself. A whole concept of pitching is gathering yourself, composing yourself, and then executing this extremely detailed, where even the slightest little thing for a little bit thrown off dictates where the ball goes. And time and again, we go, oh, he just missed the barrel. Like, it just comes down to these little bits. I really think the pitch clock, when you said earlier, I was going to go into this, when Garrett Cole, you said, I'm surprised to see his ERA is 3.03. I think it's probably going to go up. And I think when we look back, the runs scored, the runners on, it's completely changed the dynamic mentally as a pitcher of being like, this is my fucking game, pal. So it goes when I'm ready to go. And that was, and I'll say this, being coach, I know I didn't play professionally, but being coach at the D1 level, a constant reminder was, get off the fucking mound. If you're not ready, don't worry. Stare the runner down. Stare the hitter down. Take your time. We don't need to be rushing into shit. This is when you get on here, it's your time. And this is my long-winded way of saying, I really think the pitch clock has philosophically fucked with some pitchers. So the next time, the new wave will be adjusted to it, but it's so much for these guys. It is. That's why you see the guys at the top of these lists. Gallen, polished, athlete, can fucking, as smooth as fucking day. Same thing with Steele, Webb, Burns. These are all great compact deliveries.
Honestly, like every single guy we mentioned, both in the AL and NL, none of these guys are making the Hall of Fame. Me, except for Cole. Excuse me. Cole. He's the only one of that group that's making the Hall of Fame.
How old is Zach Gallen?
27.
His numbers are unbelievable. He's never hit.
He has 35 career wins. It's just not happening. And it's like, it's just wild to see this. And this is the crop we have right now, because we have the big guys, right? Like Greinke, Kershaw, forgetting guys, Verlander, Scherzer, the big four. And then you have Wainwright maybe on the fifth, on the outside, maybe. After that, you got Cole, who's making the Hall of Fame. That's it for starting pitchers. And I don't really know. I don't know.
You wouldn't. I don't think there's a player under 20 that you would say is Hall of Famer. Shohei.
Under 30, you mean?
Under 30 is what I mean.
Shohei. No, it's hit. No, we talked about before, like Bo Bichette, we think has a chance. Acuna has those abilities. Is Mookie Betts 30 now? Go to that whole run. Betts, Harper, that whole group, Trout, they're all making it. I know that I think Trout's over 30, but like you get the point. Like those guys are all making the Hall of Fame. I feel like with the pitchers, we don't have those guys. And maybe that's just where we are right now in baseball. And there was some stretches like that. Like I said, Freddie Garcia led the league in ERA. Barry Zito would have 23 wins. None of those guys are in the Hall of Fame either. So maybe we're just in that weird stretch right now.
We're both voting Steele.
Yes, but I don't think he wins. And I don't think it's fair. And I'll be mad that day. I think Gallen wins. I feel like Gallen has the... But we'll see. But right now, my vote will be for Steele.
Why are we just dusting off Spencer Strider?
He's a tough watch sometimes.
The Braves are too good.
Some of that.
Well,
immediately we'll disavow his record. Because they'll be like, all right, well, you're getting, you're on the Braves. I don't know. He's so raw at times. I don't know. Then again, he had a 1-hit, 10 strikeout performance his last start. So his last 2 starts were great. Then he gives up 6. I don't know. 3.57 ERA. He's leading the league in FIP. He's leading the league in wins, strikeouts. Maybe we shouldn't sleep on Strider.
Do writers like him? I don't know.
Second rookie of the year last year.
He shatters records, too. His strikeout totals are insane. He broke his own record this year.
Got 8 first-place votes.
It's just not a compelling... I want to go back to what you were talking about, because that's really the most... Once we get past performance, you have to think about the people voting, which are the voters that write about it and the narratives they're seeking out here. So, like, is Spencer Strider, is that a great narrative compared to Justin Steele? Spencer Strider, if Ronnie Acuna wins it, and the Braves have been fucking this good all year, and they shatter all these offensive home run records. Like, yeah, I don't know if Strider has that juice. Logan Webb's certainly a good enough pitcher. Corbin Burns, a little late to the party this year, pal. If he was a little faster,
yeah,
then
he did. Right.
We have MVP left. This is the biggest award.
Yeah, and these are the 2 locks. Like, there's no question what happens here. So, we can talk about it at the same time if you want, or you can break them down, whatever you want to do. But these are 2 absolute slam dunks.
Yeah, we get to the MVP. It's really, maybe if we just had to give, why don't you and I do this? Why don't we give an MVP between Shohei and Acuna? Who will win it between those 2?
Excuse me, Ohtani and the lock.
Are you considering he pitches?
Ohtani's having that year. Yeah, like he's having, how we talked about, like, when I was kind of lamenting, the Cy Young, we never had that breakout pitcher, like last year with Aaron Judge. Like, no question MVP. This year it's Ohtani, no question MVP. Like, it's not even like it's one of the greatest seasons in Major League Baseball history. Now, nationally MVP, I'll throw a wrinkle at you. I'm going to throw a hypothetical at you. Let's say Matt Olson goes in a fucking tear. Like a wild tear in September. He ends up with 64 home runs. I know this is crazy, I know, but does that change your mind? I don't think it changes mine. I'm still going to go with Acuna, but
the only reason it would change my mind is because then I'd say we'd have to. Like, I would feel compelled by history and precedent that if he hit 64 home runs and their team's as good as they are, I wouldn't give a fuck because some other guy stole a bunch of bases. Like, I would totally downside. I would be forced to. The history of baseball would force me. If he hit 64 home runs this year, I'd be willing to overlook Ronald Acuna.
By the way, it's not going to happen. I mean, he need 21 in his last 38 games. It's just not going to happen. But I at least want to throw out the only way I could see Acuna.
You can't say that's not going to happen.
Well, I mean, I would bet a lot of money on this.
If it was 21 in 20 games, I'd say that's not going to happen. But 38 games, 21.
That's what I mean. I put it out there. It's not, I don't see any way that happens. But, it's not the craziest thing of all time. That's the only, right? I mean, Acuna is having such an amazing season. Like, he's going to finish. He has 28 homers, 56 steals. He's batting .332, .417 on base, .567 slugging. You figure he's going to fit. He could finish. He could be the first 40-60 guy ever.
He's got an absolute fucking hose piece in right field, by the way, folks. Unbelievable throwing arm. Yeah, he does everything well. There isn't anything he can't do.
I think we talked about this like one of the very first like power ranking shows we did. It was like, what if a guy went like 40-80 or 40-70? And I'm like, it's amazing. I don't think it's as sexy as like when Canseco went 40-40 and everyone lost their minds in 1988. Like, people literally went crazy for that. I think 50-50 would do that. People just like the symmetry of it. So Acuna is obviously not going to do that. He just doesn't have enough homers. But from a baseball fan perspective, seeing a guy go 40-60 is fucking wild. He's incredible. And he's only 25. Like, he's going to make the Hall of Fame one.
Pitch clock stolen base amounts are going to have to be recalibrated 10 years from now.
I disagree.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up with a stolen base metric to be able to retroactively compare base. Yes, we are, dude. It's bullshit. Because here's what you think. You think it's just pitch and catch. You think it's just like pitcher, fucking pitch, catcher, throw them out. You can't pick guys off. You can't hold the ball. You can't fuck with time. It's so easy to get momentum as a runner. I mean, the difference between stealing bases now and then is like kicking a field goal on the 1 or kicking a field goal on the fucking 30. It is so completely different.
So let's say we build in your retroactive thing. What do we do about the 1980s? Guys were stealing 100 bases a year then. Do you give them a special metric?
Ricky Henderson did.
No, Tim Raines did. Vince Coleman did. Go through the list. There's a lot of guys. And when guys weren't stealing 80, 90, 100, they were stealing. Go look at the Cardinals in the 80s, man. Every guy had like 40 steals. It's wild. They had 300 steals a team, I think. It was wild shit.
So how'd they combat it? How did they combat it?
Well, the game changed. The game, like, they recently had all those steals with artificial turf. They got very quick breaks, and because of that track, you could really expose that. Plus, baseball was different back then. Guys were bunting more. Guys were moving guys over. The game was just different philosophies, which is fine. Philosophies change, and that's what people have to understand with these stats. Like when I hear people say retroactive, like my fucking spine goes up, man. It's like, no, man. Like that's not how it's about understanding historical context, understanding numbers. I'm so happy that it's back to being more the game that I watched when I was a kid, because that stolen bases are exciting. They're fun. This is awesome. This is a big reason why I'm having such a great time watching baseball this year, despite the fact that I root for these fucking guys.
7 games back to the wild card. Okay. Klemmer just showed his Mets logo. I'm just saying, you guys are 7 games back of the wild card spot. So
I just don't want to get a fucking tattoo. Another tattoo. I got a tattoo yesterday. I don't need another tattoo.
all it takes is 2-3 hot weeks. 2-3 hot weeks could be coming out of Labor Day here with a postseason email from the Mets saying Chris, you got selected for a raffle.
Joey Lucchesi, pitch us to October. Not gonna happen.
How's Francesa?
Oh my God, that was for me all time. I've only been starstruck in my life twice. I got to meet Jerry Seinfeld at the Comedy Cellar, which I almost shit my pants. And then yesterday, it was the only. I've been working here over a year. Never asked for a picture from anybody. Asked for one.
You've never asked for a picture of anybody
At Barstool? No one who's walking the office. I don't do that. I don't like that. But I did yesterday, though, for Princessa.
I saw Cal Ripken Jr. at that office one time. How often am I at that office?
That's pretty
cool. That's not Francis. So Francesa, all time in the universe. For those of you listening aren't paying attention, Klemmer does Pick Central, does radios around the New York office all the time. Mike Francesa, radio legend from The Fan. I guess. Did I do that right as a Chicago kid? Did I introduce him correctly?
Yeah, you did it absolutely right. And he's the greatest of all time to do it. Even when I was living in New England, sometimes I would try to get the radio right just to catch that. I would do everything I could to listen to it. But then he would simulcast on the Yes Network. So I had the baseball package, and I got to listen to him and watch him there every day. And then as I got older, obviously, you could listen to more and more stuff on your phone. Mike Francesa is the greatest of all time to ever do it. He's someone I think is wildly entertaining, someone I really admire his career. And meeting him and seeing how sharp he was and how he was himself, if that makes any sense. Like, he was him. Like, it wasn't, like, whatever I assumed he was. It wasn't a mirage. It wasn't him playing tricks. Like, he was that sharp, that quick, that great. It was awesome.
If you haven't watched it, where did people go find it? Was it Barstool Radio, or where did you?
He was on Barstool Radio with Frank, which is wildly entertaining. But he was with Marty, Ev, myself, and Rico on Pick Central, which we do the show every day. Pick Central, it's a lot of fun. Check it out. We're at 11 o'clock now. And I really enjoy doing the show with those guys every day. And I learn a ton, because I don't know a ton about college sports. I don't know much at all. So it's fun hearing those guys. And then I like to think I know a bit about NFL and baseball. And so I'm able to contribute there, but also learn about some other stuff about college sports. So I have a great time in the show. It's awesome.
Yeah, check it out. You're obviously very knowledgeable. I mean, everyone listening to this, I would imagine at this point you've earned the trust of anyone who's listened to this show over the course of this season.
You'd be surprised at the DMs I get.
Yeah, you know what? Like,
no, I'm kidding I like when people disagree. It's a good thing. And like, even, today, like, we have our opinions. We might not be right. Like, I certainly was wrong about the Mets going this season. You were right about the Padres. I laughed at you, remember?
You probably thought I was a crazy asshole.
I was just like, this is a wild take. But everything you said is so far about the Padres has been absolutely true.
I would hope in the long run, if there's anywhere I could win you over, is more of an Intuit base than, like, there's no number or story or stat I can tell you, but I do consider myself very good when it comes to pitch mix and selections and, like, gameplay. I love watching games and talking about strategy and fucking where the ball. I love This ball's going to second base right here. I mean, that's all time watching a game and trying to figure out where the batter's going to hit it next. This has been a good show. I've enjoyed going through the awards. I'm obviously, I have Acuna and I've got Shohei with the MVP. I don't know if I finished that up.
Yeah, I mean, it does. Anyone who thinks differently is wrong. To be shitty, but like there's just no other way. Especially with Ohtani, maybe Acuna. Like I said, if he gets hurt and then also goes on a tear, maybe, and even then, I guess the other argument could be what if they split the votes. I'm really stretching it here just for like I don't see how it goes any other way. And this will be the year, when people look back at this year 20, 30 years from now, look at the regular season. This will be the year of Ohtani. I think people will think of it in those terms. Or maybe be like, this was in the middle of his greatness. Whatever it is, people will look at this year and this is Ohtani's time.
Yeah, and hopefully they say it in conjunction with we can't believe the Angels held on to him and completely ran him into the ground. His greatness should always be talked about in conjunction with the Angels' organizational failure.
Oh, yeah. People will talk about what the Angels did at the trade deadline for a long time. Like baseball, nerds like myself, and I'm guessing people listening who love the historical context, like what they did, how they destroyed a shitty farm system and just completely gutted it even further to barely go 500 will never be forgotten. And it shouldn't be. It was awful what they did. And I know a lot of fans were excited when they got Giolito, and people were chirping at me when I was giving them shit, but like, it's easier if you're harsh on it. You can look at it analytically and be like, this is just a disaster. Yeah, I'm looking at the AL. Like the AL, like the runner-up is like Bo Bichette, who was hurt. Corey Seager, who's hurt a ton.
Corey Seager would have an 11 WAR season if he wasn't hurt,
and he still would win MVP. If Ohtani's that amazing, like it's not even a question.
Corey Seager's slugging 650.
Any of the year.
American League managers, I have Hyde, you have Bochy. National League, I got Bell, you got Schumacher. Rookie of the Year, Henderson and Corbin Carroll, we both got. MVPs, we both got Shohei Ohtani. And Cy Young, as of today, we both have Garrett Cole and Justin Steele. A little bit of bias in me, but I liked all the compelling points we brought up. Thank you very much for doing this.
That was fun. It was and I'm like, we still have 5 weeks of baseball, 6 weeks of baseball. Let's go. This is when things get good.
We do, and we have an award show to go to, so let's go have some fun at that. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. This is Barstool Baseball. Throw us a subscription on the YouTube page. In the meantime, we'll be back next time.